Good morning, everybody. If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor. Schedule a colonoscopy. Give me just a second here. This is for the people that came and picked up plants the last couple of days. A lot of them have never grown anything before, and even more of them have never grown cannabis before. So this is for all of those people. Let me try. I'm trying to get this other TV lined up here with what we're watching, and it's not working for some reason. Anyways, first of all, I told a couple people the other day, hey, you got to put these plants in the ground, and I wasn't thinking about other people's situations and the ground animals they may have. I'm pretty lucky. I'm kind of like in an island in a cattail swamp, marsh, whatever you want to call it. And there's no real ground animals on this little island. So anybody that moles and with moles, Zlitz, how's it going, sis? Shit, we gotta smoke one. Anybody that's got to deal with that kind of stuff, they don't want to be planting directly in the ground. That's one of my problems. I like, boy, that's way too bright. I like to pass on all the information I have in my head, and it kind of just comes out. And sometimes I don't know, if you're doing like deep water culture, some of the shit I use, you don't want to freaking use that in a deep water culture, right? You don't want to put any rabbit shit in there. So people that are just getting into this stuff, it's on themselves. I gave away these plants just to get people exposed in my area. This is brand new, last couple of years. So I don't know. I just would run into people, and if they look cool and we talked, I asked them if they wanted to plant, and most of them said yes. So I was happy about that. Anyways, so yeah, if you got any ground animals, don't plant in the ground. You can like put it in a bucket. I've done that before. Put it in like a 5-gallon pail with some good soil, and then bury that pail in the ground, and that'll keep your moisture in the bucket or near the bucket in your medium and stuff like that. So how you doing, Zalintz? Haven't seen much of you lately. Of course, I haven't been on lately. I blew up my freaking camera. I dropped it in my compost tea. So now I'm using my laptop. And I just dug out my game camera yesterday. So now I got to relearn how to use that sucker. It's been a couple of years. But we'll get some pictures. We got some pretty awesome plants growing right now. 3 white widows right now that are only 8 to 10 inches tall, probably, and 30 some inches wide. So we're going for 20 feet wide this year, and we've got plenty of time to do it. Although, no, I don't know. I think I had this happen last year, but one plant is losing like a branch. A branch will just wilt away. I cut the first, this happened twice now. I cut the first branch off, and then I went back there last night, and another branch was kind of wilty. I stood it back up, and I think I left that one to see what would happen, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to cut that thing off too. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that. Anyways, cheers. So I don't care how anybody grows their plants. Do it however you freaking want to, however you're comfortable with. There's a couple of key things when you're growing outside. You want to keep up on bugs. So be familiar with the bugs in your area. Always monitor your plants. The plants like consistency, whether you're feeding them, watering them, light cycles, whatever. They don't like a bunch of ups and downs. But the main thing I'm going to tell the people that just picked up their plants, if you can get them in the ground, get whatever receptacle you're using in the ground, as long as you don't have critters. Gophers are the big one. Use some worm castings if you can. Use good quality soil. Go find some, I don't care if you use Miracle-Gro, Scott's, Happy Frog, freaking Ocean Forest, any of that stuff. I make my own. Use good quality stuff, something with plenty of air. And the most common thing that people will do, these plants will grow themselves. It's just, it's easy to grow cannabis. It's just hard to grow extremely good cannabis. But the plants will grow themselves. And for novice people, you know, average cannabis is going to make them very happy. All right. You like kale, huh? That's cool. I've grown that a couple of times. Some of the family's fan of it. I guess if I was more exposed to it, I'd probably eat more of it. But I have all the other vegetables that I like to grow and eat. And right now I'm eating asparagus. We've got a couple of plots in our yard, and then there's a couple of wild plots across the street. And the ones across the street, they're not big, the plots, but the asparagus in them are huge. So the most common thing is people will overwater. What I do is I'll take just take a stick that's dried out, peel the bark off. It can be about the size of your thumb. I'll cram that thing in the ground and pull it out. And your most sensitive moisture meter on your body is your lips. So you can take and put that to your lips. Now, I use blood meal and bone meal and worm castings and rabbit shit and all this other shit. The microbes are eating that stuff up. You don't really have to worry about a lot of stuff. You don't want to be growing your plants in toxic material anyways. So don't got to worry about a whole lot. Touch to your lips. If it feels gritty and sandy, it's too dry. If you feel a little moisture, it's probably perfect. If it feels wet, don't water it. If you see any kind of discoloration in your plant, give it a couple of days. Your leaves will tell you a lot. Overwatering and underwatering can look a lot the same. Your leaves are going to wilt. They're not going to be able to take up nutrients, so they're going to look, discolored. Don't overfeed your plants. Less is more, but consistency is key. Right now, we're not worried about any weather, cold weather in Minnesota anymore. Although I did have a dream that we got freaking snow last night, which is freaking crazy. Zalint says, bugs have been eating them. Oh, no. Took the last on top and in the pot. My pepper plants up on the deck. My mom has a couple pepper plants on the deck, and those things got eaten up by either caterpillars or slugs, one of the two, just in 2 days. There goes my sister off to work. I got to go. She's got to work today, which is odd for her on a Saturday, but I'll go in relieve her in 4 or 5 hours. So whether you're in a bucket or in the ground, just not too wet is one of the first tips I'm going to say. Boy, if you're brand new to growing, I wouldn't be ashamed to use Miracle-Gro. You could use just the one box of Miracle-Gro through the whole grow, and your plant's going to grow fine. You're not going to grow amazing weed, But whatever you do grow will require you to dry them and cure them properly to maintain anything you've accomplished through the last, well, now it's going to be just a couple of months for you guys. But, that plant that you guys got from me the last couple of days has been growing for 21 years. It's seen a lot. It survives a lot. It's a decent feeder, but it'll sit and veg too. If you want a good veg plant, this White Widow sat in a closet for like 3 months with all different kinds of lights. I was trying these I'm getting a little off track, but I had a fluorescent light, a freaking T11, or I think it was fluorescent light, and then 100-watt LED. So it was getting all different kinds of spectrums of light. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, this was just a quick one to fill in a couple people that may not have grown before that I said I'd get to last night, and I did not. So sorry about that. But for Mike, you were talking about you were going to get a big pot, a big fabric pot, I believe you said. I would go with that route. If you knew enough that there was a thing called a fabric pot, you probably have somebody or your own knowledge to have gotten you that far. So I think you want to go with what you're familiar with. I thought maybe I'd have more time this year to walk people through everything, but you can still hit me up. I'm going to still be doing what I can for videos. But anybody that doesn't have any knowledge, I would say go with a single box of Miracle-Gro. If you have some kind of knowledge, then maybe go with your box of Miracle-Gro and like a 20-20-20, I think it is, Miracle-Gro, so that in flower you have something to feed your flowers. But if not, and you're a good organic gardener, you can grow tomatoes organically. I would say stick that plant in whatever area you're growing your tomatoes in, as long as it's fenced in. That's some of the rules in Minnesota. We should probably go through that the ones that I know. It has to be in a secure fenced in area. It can't be seen from the public. So if you got a 6 foot tall or 7 foot tall fence, make sure it doesn't go above that fence. That's why training is important. Another reason. There's several reasons why training is important, but if you know how to train plants, train your plants out. You got to be 21 years or older. Be careful of smells. Your neighbors may not care for the smell. But the main one is keep it out of the sight of your neighbors or passersby and somewhat secure. Anywho, these plants run on a light cycle that now it doesn't happen automatically outside, but after the 20th or 21st of July, days start to get a little less, shorter and shorter. So that triggers the plant into flowering. Outside, it does take several weeks, but keep them away from like porch lights or something like that. That may hinder their flowering. Now, outside, you're dealing with the sun, and it takes a heck of a lot of contaminating light or whatever, light pollution to interrupt the light cycle. So, I mean, you've got the moon out there all night too. So, it would take quite a light, like a street light or something like that, right outside your plant. Other than that, they flower pretty well. But I would say like the mid-July, so now a month or so, like 5 weeks from now, cut off the regular box of nitrogen or box of Miracle and Grow and go to the flowering and fruiting mix, but do it for the first couple of weeks at half mixture. Um, and then you can go to full mixture after that. But still, same thing. Depending on the size of the plant, is gonna at that time is gonna determine how much you're feeding it and when. I would say if you're talking a waist high, chest high size plant, that's what I saw from Aaron's plant last year. He had in a 5-gallon bucket and it came up to about his chest. So it was about the size of his abdomen. That one he only needed to feed every other week, a light dose. But like my big plants, when I was growing really big plants with Miracle Grow, because I was feeding them so much water, I was feeding them a half dose every 2 days. One more quarter. How's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers. So it was more like I was feeding it more like hydro. I was giving it little shots all the time, but I was watering them 3 times a day too. You're gonna have to do that if you're growing in buckets or those air pots. It's gonna be extremely dry. So get, like I said, a stick it in the ground, pull it out, put it to your mouth, your lips, and that'll tell you how wet it is there. You don't want root rot. You don't want root rot. That'll stunt your stuff. As far as leaf color and stuff, you're going to see new growth every day. I see new growth every day. It's, I mean, probably the size of my palm of light green growth on each cola or each apical meristem. Every day I get growth because I don't stunt my plants. My training methods, you don't fracture branches so they don't have to recover. Any of that kind of stuff is accidental. And it doesn't happen often. But so you're gonna have to what I'm gonna use this year, because we haven't had up to last year any problem with budworms. I've got some BT. Let's see, it's Bacillus thuringiensis or whatever. Thuringiensis. BT. BT. Get some of that. You're going to want to spray that a couple of times, probably mid to late July. I am very unfamiliar with budworms, so this will be the first time I'm actually trying it against these. If I start to see an infestation, if I'm inside, I would definitely use it. Outside, I don't know if we're going to see that same pressure this year, so I don't want to use anything if I don't have to. Stony Television, good morning. Cheers. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping. Just passed out some plants the last few days and told people that I'd give them a quick series maybe of things they should be doing. Now, most of them are new growers. A couple of them didn't even know. I was like, hey, you'd like to grow a plant, you know? One of them was a father and son, and the guy was hitting a vape pen. And I'm like, hey, is that cannabis? And he's like, yeah. I just got this. First time we're trying. I'm like, really? Well, you ever grown plants before? And they're like, well, no, not really. But What do you mean? I'm like, well, I got some plants I'm giving away. You wanna take one? His kid was like, yeah. His kid's adult, they're drinking beer. They're adult people. So I gave them a plant. I don't know if they've grown anything at all. I don't know if I'll ever see them again. Gave them the channel. Maybe they're watching, maybe they're not. Minnesota being so new, people are still a little timid about growing. Yeah, weed plant. Yep, you betcha. 21-year-old white widow. My buddy's been keeping around for 21 years. Give Big Mike a shout out. He was the keeper of the Crippy, I guess. I just met up with him a couple years ago. He's a fan of honey. And I'm a fan of cannabis. And he happened to have some cannabis, and I happened to have some honey. And we sat down one day, and I ended up with a plant of his, and he ended up with some good tips on some honey, on some good tips on where to get some good honey. Anyways, cheers. Like I said, this is just a spontaneous little thing. If anybody wants to talk about anything, we can do that. Sorry, I'm looking at my TV over here. I don't know how good your guys' reception is, but from Wi-Fi from here to the house and from the house back to here, unless I sit really still, I'm pretty blurry. So so other than that, if any of my new growing friends need any tips, they know where to get a hold of me. They can get a hold of me on the channel here. Let's see. Stony says, give a man a joint and he gets high for an hour. Teach a man to grow and he'll get high for the rest of his life. You bet you will. You betcha. Providing, I don't know if the hemp industry goes crazy and all of a sudden there's freaking a bunch of plants around that are pollinating everything. My outdoor growing career may crash. We do get some pollination out here wildly, but lately I've been pretty lucky. So, anyways, the rabbit shit and just the whole consortium of things seem to be growing well. Like I said, I've been getting good green growth just the one anomaly. Anybody seen branches just randomly die on their stuff? I don't remember touching this branch. The first one, I don't remember touching it at all. Like I said, my plants are trained out. It was one branch that was going straight up that was only probably 7 or 8 inches tall. There was no hardening of it. It was a rapid growing part of the plant, and then it was just whoop, and then wilted, and the rest of the plant had new growth. I cut that one off. The second one then, later yesterday, I went out there and noticed this branch was wilted. I'm like, fuck, it's doing it again. Look at the rest of the plant. The rest of the plant, the center of each bud space. Why can't I think of node space? Bud site. Every bud site, the leaves had green inner growth, bright green, new growth, except for this one. It was wilty and no new green growth. I know. Boy, what is that? Hop latent viroid, HLVD. I hope it ain't that. Or HLV, I think it is. Yeah, I don't know. Looked perfectly healthy otherwise. I didn't see any damage on it. I mean, you can break a branch off down to just the threads of the freaking bark, and glue or tape it back together, and the thing will live. I don't know why this branch died. I don't know why the next one was. I haven't been out there yet today, so I don't know if it continued to wilt. But we'll know more in a little bit. It's foggier than fuck out here right now. But I'm going to head out there after we're done with this. I got to go to work in an hour or so, or get ready for work in an hour or so. Other than that, I've got a volunteer that came back from the Blueberry Sprinkle last year. That one looks like it's going to, I bet I go out there today and see balls. I did see one little white spot on a crotch that just didn't look right to me. Now, it could have been something, you know, a piece of perlite that landed there. I didn't fuck with it at all. Let's see. Stoney says rainy. It rained hard there. Oh, it's raining now in Central Texas. Okay, that's where you're at, huh? Texas? Cool. Yeah, there's been a lot of crazy weather down there. Dry and then wet. I think we're going to be in more of a drought year here, but it's hard to say right now. I mean, nothing's going to tell me until the final part of the year. But my well that I dug is down probably 4 inches from a normal season. Enough now to where I'm like, shit, I might be digging that sucker out again. It's caved in over the last couple of years. About 5 years ago, I dug it down 9 feet in a peat moss area of the cattails. It's by my island. It was pretty surreal being down there. I don't know. It was like if I was in a tube in the garage here, and the tube was up taller than the ceiling. I mean, I was taking shovelfuls of peat and flipping them over my head. Had to step down. It was really, since it was so dry, and it wasn't completely dry, but it's weird when peat, I don't know. Anybody that hasn't been down in a peat hole just can't see the experience, but it was pretty weird. I didn't think it was going to cave in, but I was always worried about it. I found a rock down there, which is kind of cool. All right, I've talked about this before, but when the glaciers went through the northern part of North America, they ground everything down. So this is where I get my my glacial rock dust, is from the spoils from the pond in my backyard. When it was dug out, they went to bedrock, pulled up the clay silt and sand, piled it up, and this mound is what I'm growing. Clay, silt, sand, and peat. Okay, it was predominantly peat with these clumps of clay, silt, and sand in it. And I mined the clay layer out of some spots and dried it out, turned it into powder, and I'm using that for my nutrients. But what I'm assuming our bedrock is made of is this here. Okay, now check this out. This is some kind of, I don't even know. It has to be like a coral reef of some sort, because on the back side, look at that stuff. Okay. That is not man-made stuff. I got this stuff 9 feet down. This came from underneath where all that clay, silt, and sand is, because if you look here, and I don't know if you can see, there's striations on here This rock was drugged by, there you can see it. This rock was drugged by a glacier. And when that glacier melted, it was left underneath my yard. And when the guy that lived on this property in the 1950s, when he dug these ponds out, this thing was deposited where I dug my well. So now 9 feet down, suspended in peat, was this. Now, whatever these markings are, it's hard to see on the camera here, but that to me says that was some kind of life that built those structures years ago. I don't know. It's so hard to see on this camera. One day I'll get it checked out, but it was pretty neat to me. But anyways, now that this is ground down, see how flat that is? That was done by a glacier. That was against bedrock. Once that was ground down, that turned into the clay, and the powder from this rock is what I'm feeding my plants with for my minerals. Not that I need them growing in that particular ground, but what I'm actually doing is I'm putting this powder in with my activated aerated compost teas. And that's building a microbe base that then when I pour it on my mounds, it'll solubilize those minerals faster and more efficiently, feed the plants that stuff. And the rabbit shit's doing good. Like I said, I guess I do have a smaller one of them rocks too that I just recently found that looks the same way. We're gonna find out how bees work when I ground up the bees. Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's check that out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so complicated. So complicated. I mean, money and power direct so much about what people are told. Yeah, look at our school systems and our universities. Those are all paid for by basically special interest groups, as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, we're not here to get into any of that, I guess. Sometimes I do fall into it, but really 2 years ago, some of you guys don't, a lot of you guys maybe don't know this if you haven't been following. I gave up regular TV when my buddy gave me this what is it called? An Android TV box that had YouTube on it and a bunch of other stuff. Of course, I didn't know how to use any of it. End up getting into YouTube. I couldn't comment on anything because it was only like a one-way thing. And then got a computer for Christmas a couple of years ago, which was pretty surprised. I had no experience on a computer or anything, so that started this journey. I was growing, like I said at the beginning of this, with Miracle-Gro, and was growing Christmas trees up till 4 years ago. Growing Christmas trees, I started topping like 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago started this journey with learned everything I could on YouTube about all the different steering capabilities of plants. came up with my training idea, and because of my results, came up with the confidence that this is going to be something that people are going to be like, what is this dude doing? I mean, you can do some of this stuff by really stressing out your plants, get the same result on a smaller plant and be happy. Or you can grow the big ass, massive bastards, which in Minnesota, it's important that you keep them down because they have to stay below your friggin' fence. So anybody in a residential area can grow a plant now. Well, once we get my gadget freaking made and on the market, if it ever happens, which I'm confident it will, enough people see what I'm doing. If I had Hash Olio, okay, Hash Olio said what I told him that one day was interesting. If that son of a bitch says something's fucking interesting, go with it, because usually he has no comments or compliments or nothing. It's all, hey, you're doing this wrong, da 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 da. Okay, you got to do this, or it's all fact-based stuff. He asked a question. He's like, "Oh, are you trellising outside?" Technically, now since 2 days ago, yes, I am, because I did trellis one plant, not any of the ones I'm talking. So I told him, yeah, I'm going to try and stay below 3 feet tall, and I'm going for 20 feet wide. He said, oh, interesting. So I'm like, oh, hey, shit. Anyways, that's funny to me. Let's see. I'm backed up on this chat here. Oh, yeah, TV is boring, man. And then I don't know, some of these things, the reality TV that's supposed to be so authentic. Yeah, no, you know what? This is authentic. Anyways, let's hit it again, right? YouTube wouldn't be taking channels down if it wasn't authentic. There we go. Another tip for my new growers. Find the best spot in your yard with most light, but keep those new plants kind of sheltered from extreme sunlight. You don't want to burn them. Hey, brother. Right on. Yeah, you know, I don't want to really run a business or anything. I like having my freedom. I work a short job for 4 days a week. Try and keep the wheels on around here. And shit, I forgot where I was going. Oh, yeah. So either my plan is to, get this thing established and find somebody just to sell the idea, maybe help out for a year or two. But if I really have to get in and develop something and whatever, then maybe I'll stick around. But, I see it producing quite a bit of cash. I don't know anything about this 3D printer stuff or nothing, so I don't know exactly what the feasibility is coming up with a concept, coming up with a product, putting it out on the market after going through the freaking hoops of freaking trying to find materials these days inexpensively, trying to find a business to freaking make them for you, and then run the risk of having somebody freaking put them out on the market using a 3D printer. It's exhausting thinking about. So I'm not really focusing on let's get a business put together and get this thing out. I'm more focused on, hey, maybe somebody that's already set up to do this can take this idea and run with it. and then just compensate me for the idea. But it would be a couple of $1 million because I'm training fruit trees and I've trained a pepper plant out. So it's possible to do that stuff. I see, like, say you got to grow in, and you got a 3-level grow in a building. Now that you can train these plants out even better than people are training them out now and shorter, you can put 4 levels in a building you had 3 in. Okay. Yeah. So I have my own trainers that I've made by hand that would be unfeasible to put on the market that way. So they would have to be made out of plastic. Yes. And right now I have one that's in a 5-gallon pail that's flowering, that comes out of the pail this far, which is about 7 inches. Now it's in the 3rd week of flower. It's done and stretched. I've trained it through stretch. I didn't measure it yet, but I have it in an old computer cabinet, and it fills that computer cabinet. And I don't know, it's got like 40 tops. So I'll have it on one of these days here. But pretty much, I mean, if you look at that one I grew last year, it was 13 feet wide, and it came up to my chest. I got sick for 2 weeks. I missed like freaking 8 days of doing anything to it. And it still was that huge. If I would have trained it out even better, it would have been completely amazing. But I know I don't like the idea of using plastic either. The thing is, for me, now you're not using plastic at all, which is kudos. A lot of people are using plastic tie downs and rope and stuff like that they're cutting and not reusing. These are 100% reusable. Okay. Granted, they're going to break down through the course of time. I can't see using metal. Now, if we could find some kind of hemp fiber, I would be all about that. Now, I can't see that too far off. So, maybe plastic is just something that is a here and now type thing. But yes, the zip ties that people are using and the bamboo stakes that people are using, they're gone. There's one component of my gadget that doesn't seem feasible to produce in my area and ship, because there's one component that is found all over the world already, and you won't have any problem finding it. It's similar to your those grow bags that you use the PVC pipe, say, okay? You buy the grow bag, and then you buy the PVC pipe at your local hardware store. That would be the same thing. You would buy my trainer, and you would purchase a component at your local store that ties the two things together. Another thing about this trainer, which is really cool. Now, like I said, last year I lost control of it. I got sick. It was 2 days of heat stroke in a row. Then I went to work, felt like crap for a day. Came home, was going to take the next day off, and then the air conditioning went out. So I spent on I planned a day to recuperate, and then had to work on the air conditioning here. And then I got COVID following that. So my freaking system got broke down. Somehow I got COVID, probably going to the fucking place I got these parts for our freaking air conditioning, and then got sick for another week. This year, these plants are going to be, the way I see it, it's going to be like one big muffin of a bud. But the plant's not going to be, I'm going to keep them depending, like I said, I've never done this particular, haven't gotten this far with the training. I've only been learning. This is the third year I've had this. So 2.5 years I've physically been using this gadget. And if you see my plants, I think they speak for themselves. And not just the big massive one. There's other ones out there that are fucking trained out. I don't know. But the freaking lollipopping is also history if this gadget gets out. Okay? Because, outside you got almost endless penetration of light. But in your grows, you'd only have so much light penetration, and people are stripping leaves off. With this training method, all that, or maybe just about all that green material, plant material that you have grown is now bud sites because your plant isn't growing up, it's growing out. Okay? I liken it to like unfolding origami, kind of. As the plant grows, it just keeps unfolding and unfolding and unfolding as it gets wider and wider. It doesn't go up. You just keep unfolding it out and out and out. And then as you're exposing those inner nodes are growing plant material, like a vine, stretching a vine out. Here's a tip. Train the ends of the branches, not the branches themselves. If you can train that tip of the branch, I'm giving a lot away right now to you 6 people in this chat. If you train the tip of that freaking branch, which is the most, my buddy's like, geez, why are freaking tips freaking so rubbery? Do you notice that white widow, it freaking flops around? Yeah, if your plant's going like this, your plant tip is going to go flopping around. But if your plant's like this, it wants to be stiff because it's trying to stand up again, okay? Train the tip of that branch, you'll grow fucking big-ass plants. You'll have node or fucking bud sites up the ass. The first time I did this on a re-veg plant, I had so many freaking bud. They were like roses popping up out of this thing because re-veg. So it was really crazy. But I had so many buds, sites, stems or whatever. I cut out half of them because I thought I was going to get bud mold and bud rot and powdery mildew and shit. There was 190 colas. I cut out half of them. I'll never do that again. But like I said, it's the first time I ever did that. And I was like, holy shit. We're in Minnesota too. We've got some pretty heavy humidity here. You can't grow every kind of plant. Some of these new versions of plants that were grown elsewhere, you try and grow them here and you're going to get powdery mildew, you're going to get bud mold. Plants that don't like aphids, holy shit, look out. But yeah, so another thing too, you train them out like that and they're low, your branches can start holding up their material, the buds. They can just keep getting bigger and bigger and denser. Okay, the shorter those branches are, the easier it is to hold them up. Right now, like I said, they're about 8 inches tall and 30 some inches wide. I'm going to do a guesstimation here by looking. Yeah, so say this is 32 inches. That's 32 inches wide, and that's 8 inches tall. So we're going to go 8 inches tall. We're going to add 8 inches to 32, which is 40. So right here, well, shit, 32, we're going to back down to 32. So say that's what my plant looks like right now. Or, well, 3 of them do. It's pretty good. We'll see what happens. I don't know if, like, the bigger the plants get, is that going to sacrifice the quality of the flower? Now, I imagine that's going to be on me. How fast can I get nutrients to solubilize being organic, right? So what I'm doing is top dressing every other week. No, every week. Top dressing every week, but I'm using half doses. And then I made fermented plant juices that are dialed in for veg, and 1 5-gallon pail that is dialed in for flour. The flour one is made out of pumpkins and squash. And then I'm going to make the compost teas using banana peels and banana. And I'm dialing in my, and then I'm going to use bone meal more predominantly than blood meal. And then my worm castings, which I use nightcrawler castings, I'm going to dial those in with banana peels for potassium. And then I've got my phosphorus, for phosphorus, and then I've got my potassium out of my wood ash. So I've not even got into any of those variables. The first time I grew the big massive ball, the canopy, boy, that sucker was dense. But as you went down, the quality of the bud freaking crashed. I mean, it went from some stuff that I was like, dude, this is almost top shelf, to stuff that was like, God damn, I'm stripping this shit off and fresh freezing it, not knowing what the hell I'm going to do with it because it was terrible. You got a backside of that plant. That's another benefit to training them out. You don't have a backside to train out plant. You just got a top side. All I grow is canopy. This is another way I explain it. I grow the top of the plant down at the ground level. The one thing I'm seeing right now is all these low leaves spread out is inhibiting my airflow. So I may have to strip out a couple of leaves that are touching the ground. That's also going to bring up pests and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Stay tuned. This was just for my new grower friends here. Do whatever you're comfortable with. I know I kind of got, and one guy was kind of interrupting too while I was trying to explain some shit, but he budged himself into the conversation. But do what's comfortable with you. If you need any tips, hit me up. Most of you've got my number now. If not, my email is on YouTube here. It's Chad O. Doug 13 at gmail.com. I'll give you tips, give you any assistance you need. if you're in the area and if you need some compost tea, if you're familiar with that, I can hit you up. We're going to help you out with some of that. Maybe some fermented plant juice, but if you're going to be dealing with the fermented plant juice, don't do it if you're if you have neighbors, man. My fucking garden this week smelled like I emptied out a barn onto the freaking front lawn. Now it's a good smell opposed to an actual barn smell. I've shoveled out plenty of barns in my life. It's a little bit different, but that's the gist of it. Yeah, I love brainstorming too. I did start melons too, brother, just here recently. What was it? Cantaloupe. We have such dark soil around here. They like to rot. Neighbor has cows. Yeah, I know, right? Yep. What else? I don't know. Yeah, I did tell people, hey, you're better off going on the ground, but then I thought about it after that. If you've got if you got gophers, watch my gopher video. I've got a gopher video. There's a tip. If you got a gopher trap, there's a tip in there that I haven't lost a gopher in quite a while. The one I did lose, his foot got tore off, unfortunately. But you'll catch a gopher if you find the right spot in their tunnels to set the trap. It's all about masking your scent, and there's a tip in there that will mask the scent on the trap, and you'll catch them every time. It's got thousands of views, or well, maybe that one only got that one probably has 1,000 views. Anyways. So yeah, put them in a bucket. Make sure your bucket's got some holes in it, or a pot, a foil or a fabric pot. Just consistency is key. And then I've got some tips on drying and curing in our area. And basically what I'll say for you new growers, my new friends here and shit. Paul Bowie, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. See, I'm going to get you guys modded up. Forgot about Stony here. He should have been modded up a while ago, probably. I thought maybe he was. Boom. Welcome to the channel, Paul Bowie. We're just talking to some of my new friends that got plants recently and maybe not have any experience. There we go. Boom, boom. Zalintz is here. Shit. What else am I going to say about that? There was one good point I was going to say. Now that's why I record this actually, so I can go back. Hold on. We're growing outside. Gophers. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to find it. Welcome to the channel, Paul Bowie. Yeah, no. Anyways. Oh, yeah. The first thing you want to start out with is genetics. So what I'm going to tell you right now is that White Widow is a damn good plant. Let me show you here. That's what I've been smoking mostly for last several. Mostly, probably last 8 months, predominantly. Let's see. Got to find a good example. Now, I did not grow this. This was grown, I believe it's in Fox Farm or Ocean, or it's either Ocean Forest or Happy Frog. Yep, we got a piece of hair in there. Now those seeds were made before all the genetics started getting muddied up. So they were bought in from Amsterdam in was it the late 90s or early 2000s? Early 2000s. And the guy's been keeping it around since then. So I believe the story was it was a 10-pack of seeds. 2 of those seeds were female, and this is the one they selected out of the 2. And I like it. So this will be the first time I'm growing it. The one I'm growing now is flowering. There's one that I'm growing now that's flowering. We'll see how successful I am with that. I don't have a dialed in environment inside. So thankfully it's not a huge plant, just a little experiment. And I wanted to see, I'm sick of listening to that in the background. Shut that off. I want to see what it's like to dry. I want to see what it's like to feed. Now, I'm not going to get the same expression as outside, but it'll give me some insight. You know what I mean? Other than that, anybody has any questions, hit me up. And any new growers, just consistency is key. You've got the genetics now to run with. You can keep those genetics around if you need to, if you want to. Yeah, just keep them happy. All right. Yeah, Stony, it's definitely rewarding. Definitely rewarding keeping bees. Takes a bit of time. I should probably invest a little more time than I am in them. I feed my plants with some of the honey, so they like it too. And yeah, it's good for your garden, neighbor's garden, and other things. I don't know. More and more people are getting into it too in the area, and I'm surprised. People that know I have bees are like, "Hey, how come you never said that? They help with being allergic." I'm like, well, first of all, because if you're not really interested, you're not going to listen to me. Second of all, it takes consistency with that too. Teaspoon or tablespoon, every day. As far as I know, I have no evidence that backs it up. Apparently, there is science to it. But a tablespoon every day just builds up just like when you're fucking smoking weed every day, builds up a tolerance. And as long as you keep doing that, you'll see less of a response when you go out in nature. Now, it's not going to help your freaking pet allergies, which I'm surprised some people think that is. Anyways, one reason why I'm growing all the White Widows because I'm smoking all the White Widow too. Oh, hey. Like I said, Minnesota is very new again. So this White Widow, people are coming back and going, man. Now these guys are like in their 30s now. I remember smoking this stuff when I was a kid. This is the same exact. I mean, it tastes just like it. I know this is the stuff. I'm like, I know. I remember this stuff too. But the brown hash has gotten the attention of a few people. I got a little bit left here now. There's a little bit in there. That we made quite a bit of this year, and we didn't have I don't even know if our dispensary in town is open yet. I haven't been by there in a while. So there's nowhere people are buying anything. I don't even know if they get brown hash in a dispensary nowadays. But my buddy's like, holy crap, I'm smoking that stuff every day. And I gave some to my buddy. And boy, it's just like back in the day. And where'd you get that? And mama, all you guys can make this stuff now, So at least in Minnesota, we can grow 4 plants. That's why we train them too. You can grow them tall and grow random type, kinds of buds, but you can grow consistent, A buds pretty easily, train them out. So, all right. So a little bit of hash, a little bit of White Widow. We're going back to the 1990s here, folks. If I can get my 2000s torch to work. Bongs up one more quarter. Let's go, Zalintz. Cheers. Paul Bowie. Yeah, and it has good taste. Full disclosure, though, that was not the White Widow hash. That is cream cheese hash. That was from the 13-footer. That was a seed plant that was, the genetics wasn't there as far as THC and all the other cannabinoids and stuff. It was a good learning experience, though. So, anyways, if you eat dog, oh, it's good for asthma. Oh. Yeah, I imagine. Let's see. White Widow and Gorilla Glue were one of the first cultivars you started with one more quarter 3 years ago. Hey, how you liking it? I've grown white boy. I got an ice cream cake that people really like. That is a hard bitch to clone, but likes to be cloned outside in Minnesota for some reason. I couldn't get the fucker. My buddy can't get. He may have gotten one to clone, but it does not like to clone. But outside, it works good here. There was this show, Mansewers. Said cat was gamey. I can't handle any gamey meat. I was basically raised on a hobby farm. We had all different kinds of animals. We babysat a cinnamon bear for a little while. Or I did for a little while. Oh, shoot. There was a llama on site for a while. But horses, pigs, had a goat, rabbits, chickens, ducks. I don't know. Anyways, I ate that stuff as a kid and then got away from it as a young adult, and then trying to come back to farm raised food and meat and stuff. It's very strong stuff, man. buddy of mine raises beef, and he actually hunts out here and gives us beef for hunting out here. And first of all, the fat marbling on that stuff is, you don't see that stuff you buy at Walmart on a steak or on a roast. And then the aroma from the meat, wow, that's crazy. Same with eggs. Eggs are so strong. So one more quarter. Yeah, those are good strains. Still got 4 White Widow and 2 Gorilla Glue seeds left. Nice. Yeah, I've got a bunch of seeds I like to pop. So I was talking about the blueberry sprinkle earlier. That I'm pretty sure is going to be a male. I have the land race from Dr. Dank Nugs that I'm still not sure what kind of land race it is. But that one, I busted the top off the fucker. But it's got a good smell to it right now. It's a good grower. It's healthy looking. And then I've got a volunteer that popped up where the bubble gum was last year. And the bubble gum was the best plant I ever freaking grew. It was right there with the top 3 best weeds I ever smoked. High resin producer. When I squished that thing, it squished like nothing I've ever seen. But it was impossible to freaking clone in flower. I did not expect this plant to be what it was. It was such a late starter to flowering and flowered so fast. It was like here and gone. But I tried to get that thing cloned, and there's one anomaly that a buddy of mine has. I gave him some plants while I was sick because I couldn't take care of them, and I wasn't sure which ones were which. And like I said, it was COVID. I was delirious almost. And I'm just like, here's 8 plants. Some of them have roots, some of them don't. Take them. And he's got one that he's not sure what it is. And it's either from the Golden Goat, which is cool because that one was a really earlier flower, or the cream cheese, or the bubblegum. So it's a 1 in 3 chance that it's a bubblegum. I have not seen the plant. I could identify it if I looked at it, but I haven't seen it. One day I'll look at it. One day maybe I'll flower it. I don't know. But after this year, we're going to have 8 probably really good cultivars now in our stable. So I say there's originally to the little group here, I've brought in the good genetics in. Now we're bringing in another guy in which some of these cultivars came from. Now he's not the original breeder of these plants, but he's the one that brought them to Minnesota. And then we got our White Widow guys. So we've got, man, we're putting together something's going to happen here in Minnesota. So if any of you guys are in Minnesota, I know there's a couple people that are near Minnesota or in Minnesota. We're kind of loosely knit around here right now, but we're starting to coerce and coagulate, or whatever you want to call it. But, much like the cannabis plant, it's a slow process. And that's another tip I'll tell you, new growers. Don't expect this to go fast. You're not going to see out of this White Widow. I'm not exactly sure what the flowering time is outside. It's 10 weeks indoors. I'm assuming it's going to be a little longer. That's why I'm flowering this one out right now. It's not conventionally being flowered out, but it's as close as I can simulate. But I mean, it's going to be Halloween probably before we're harvesting. We may be smoking some by Halloween, but it's just apples. That's something else too. You can go by all the freaking metrics they're telling you on any of the channels that you're gonna be watching, along with training your plants out, feeding them consistently. Take samples, dry it out a couple of days. Some of them, most of them are going to taste like crap right away because they're not going to be cured and dried properly and cured. But if you look deep inside what you're smoking, because you'll get to a point when they're dry that they'll smoke before you cure them. They don't have to be cured to smoke them. They just have to be dry enough. But you'll be able to taste around the green chlorophyll and whatever, the base of what you've got going there. And at some point, you're going to be like, this is what I want to be smoking. This is what the effect I want. But there's just that harsh green taste. That stuff will go away if you properly cure it and properly dry it and then cure it right. But take samples of that. Don't just say, okay, the trichomes look right, we're going to harvest it. Every cultivar is different. Every grow is different. The sun will turn trichomes colors. So I sample my stuff. I start real early while there's still hairs all over the place. Of course, I'm anxious to find out what it tastes like. You know what it smells like, but I don't know. Yeah, I hear you, Stony. I can never wait long enough either. Let's see. Working with 2 other people to vegging and cloning. We have a 4-plant limonal. So I see you're just about where I'm at here. 1 more quarter. Need a clone buddy and a veg buddy. Yep, that's exactly where we're at. I'd like to have somebody that, and which I do, but he's really busy, and now he's got this damn cancer that he's fucking with. Same pretty much shit that I had almost. We need a mother. We need a Mother Hubbard or a couple. I'd like to have like 4, so we get like 20 different strains. And then it's a co-op. Bring something into the freaking community, I don't even say worth value, Bring interest and heart to what I've got going on and what we've got going on. I've said I right now, but it's definitely not just me. I don't know. I'd like to be the one that says, hey, let's everybody get together here, Anyways, I don't know. We got way too far into this. That's what they're talking about on, what was it? Maybe it was GNC last night or GCN. Everybody getting a little property next to each other and everybody having their own, I don't even want to say job. I don't know. Whatever. Let's just let things happen. Nobody needs to tell anybody what to do, where to go. Oh, I don't know. I need to tell myself I should probably go out to the grow, though. What I need to do, this is what I need to do. Village life. is get this game cam, get a memory card in that thing, and go take some video. But I don't have an empty video, or I don't have an empty memory card. And I don't know if I can reprogram one or whatever, not using the camera, because the camera went into a compost tea and I can't use it anymore. Anyways, I'm going to sign off, people. Thanks for hanging out. Got to go to work in a couple hours, but we'll be back. SD cards have doubled in price. Well, that's good to know. Shit. Well, I got a couple. I'll just have to just erase one. I've got an external hard drive that I don't know how to use. If I knew how to use the computer better, I would probably be able to store a lot on that. Anyways, thanks one more quarter. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Zlin, Stony TV, and everybody else. Paul Bowie, appreciate you. Yeah, stay on top of the world, everybody. Peace. Don't forget to talk to your doctor and get those colonoscopies scheduled too, people. Adios.